It's been about it's 3 months. Yeah, I would say 3 months. 3 months until when I made this video, that I was right when I can't review keyboard switches unless they are on the whole keyboard. Before this, what I used to do, on a home row, I would keep a different switch. On other row, I will keep a different switch, and then I will try to test it. But the reality is that's not a proper way to testing it. I explained in that video. Go ahead and watch it if you want to. But that's the gist of it. So back then, I think I also made a short or something. I changed my whole keyboard to brown switches only. Okay, so this is earlier how I used to check. You can see I would keep different rows switches on different things. Yeah, and here is when I was, I just basically when I got rid of all the blue switches and I kept testing all switches, and basically when I forgot which switches were there, I really liked the brown switches, and I was really surprised even that how can this happen. Okay, this is I will link all the description because I know you can't find it. So point is, I like the brown switches even though I thought I might never like them. I said in my initial review I was like I am never going to like the brown switches, and I did not make a video, but I think I made a post about it or something. So basically, I changed my whole keyboard to have brown switches only. Okay, that was a few months ago, and finally, it's been quite some time when I have been using the brown switches, and this is just to conclude that I don't have the keyboard with me right now. I left that in the other place, but I actually want to get to the exact date when I did that, and I think I can't find it. Yeah, you know what? Let it be. I know it's been a couple of months. It's been a couple of months when I actually installed the brown switches. When will I use this? Brown. Oh yeah, 2 months. I really like the brown switches. They are no means silent, but they are not that irritating treble loud like the loud switches. But I guess it has to more to do with the feel. Anyways. So it's been a few months now. I have used brown switches. It said under testing, and you know what? Let's just conclude it. Yeah, all the links are affiliated links. They didn't work earlier. Now they suddenly do. If you use the link, it will help me somehow. Okay, you can get this Excel sheet from my website if you just go to ni6hnt.com and you click on tech accessories. That's the Excel. You see the Excel or the Google sheet. This is I will actually remove it. Okay. Earlier they didn't used to work. Now they do. So yeah, brown switches. These are all the Indian prices. If you're outside India, I think the same thing will apply because Outemu is universal. Pretty cheap switches. Okay, what do I have to say about the brown switches? I've been using them for. I got used to them, right? Brown. Outemu brown switches. Okay, so that's basically it. I really like them. Okay, I thought I wouldn't like them, but I really like them. That's the basic thing about them. I never thought that I would like them because as I said before, I kept thinking that they will um, pretty tactile while not being clicky. I think everyone knew that, but and blue switch users should try them. If you love blue switch, okay, if you like blue switch and the people you live with are complaining that these switches are terrible, they make them irritated, I think this would be your second best. Okay, there are silent switches. I tested all of these, and in my initial testing there weren't a lot that I would prefer. Oh, there is actually one, the red panda, but yeah, those are expensive in the budget category, as you can see from the graph, even if you don't know the Indian rupees. So basically these are 1 2 3 4. Okay, and these are half prices for the blue, brown, red and black. These are the normal switches. If you buy these switches, they are very cheap. These are quite cheap compared to the other Outemu switches that are here. Okay, it's like 700 rupees, so that will be around 725 in USD. About $8, $8 or $9. Okay, so under $10 you get complete set of switches. These will be about $15. Oh no, about $20. Yeah, so these will be about $20. These are $10 switches, and I think pretty good. And even though I keep recommending, even if you see the seats, I keep recommending only the mechanical keyboard. This is for the Indian audience. I only keep recommending switches that have that are swappable. Okay, there are two kinds of swappable: the full swappable that have the 5 pins, as I showed in that video. Point being, I shouldn't get distracted. Even if you do not have a swappable keyboard, I think you should. I think you can see installing mechanical switches in a non-swappable mechanical keyboard. So I took the brown switches from here. I found this old keyboard that was lying there, and I installed the brown switches on them by soldering them. Desoldering and soldering them. So even if you have an old keyboard lying around, and that's the problem with, I do not recommend keyboards that do not have swappable switches. I just don't recommend them, because more than likely you will be getting a budget keyboard. I mean, even if you get the most expensive keyboard, it is quite normal that switch will fail. Okay, that can happen. Even if you have the best of the keyboards, that can happen. Out of 100 switches, 2 or 3 might fail. And if even failing, if one switch fails and you can't replace it normally, RMAing one keyboard for that one switch is not always a viable option. Most of the time the warranty will already be over, so you will have to pay extra on the shipping and everything. So that's one thing. And the second being cheap switches, like for $10 you get the whole 100 keys of Outemu switches. So if one fails, you just take it out, you put the next one. If under 10-20 seconds you can do that. And if you have a soldered keyboard, okay, you have to take out all the switches, all the keys, everything. When this keyboard that I am talking about, what happened later that I had a few switches were not working properly, So every time I had to fix that, I had to open all the keyboard, take out all the keycaps, all the switches, and then I had to solder them and then fix it. And then, I have spent hours just trying to get that keyboard, but that is a fault of the keyboard also, I will say that. But the point is, it's always, if you're buying a new keyboard, buy a swappable keyboard. Even if you can't afford the hot swappable keyboard, if you hot swappable keyboards, you can install any switches, cherry switches, the 5-pin switches, get around 5-pin switches. You can install almost all switches. They are not cheap, they are quite expensive, and you might not even find it from a second brand, so a second tier brand. So you might find it on the first tier brand, you might not be able to find it in the second tier brand. And also, I don't usually recommend anything that's not full size. So I don't recommend a keyboard that's not full size. Okay. Here is the here's the keyboard that I recommend, at least in India, because I will work on the accessory sheet for US also. Don't worry, I will work on it. I think, you know what? Let's take a look. Why not? Why not? Swappable keyboard. So RK Royal Clutch, I think. Red Dragon, $50. Okay, so you can see the upgraded hot swappable socket. That is something you can do. You can take an old swappable keyboard, you can install little things that will make your keyboard swappable. At least the prices that are in India, it's not worth it. So this is what they have done, and that's how they are selling this keyboard. Yeah, I think easy recommendation. This keyboard, I would say, is easy recommendation. Easy recommendation. I also get a $5 coupon. Why am I recommending this keyboard even without checking the reviews and everything? Because I know these are hot swappable. Okay, even if a few switches fail, you can install your own. A P65 warning, I already covered it in the last stream. That is basically with every keyboard. Okay, if someone is not with any mechanical devices, that they have to do it. Okay, I already covered that, also replied to that. Yeah, I have to look into detail, but just from looking at it, they sound pretty good. What is this second one? What is this? Is this swappable? This is also hot swappable. $30. Oh my god, this is very you guys are lucky. Okay, you guys are lucky. Guys in the US are very lucky. $35 and 8 there, 5 there, 3, 27. For $27 you get a hot swappable keyboard. That's not weird. Okay, so what many companies will do, they will cram the switches like this, they will remove the numpad. I do not recommend any keyboard that's not 100%. Okay, that doesn't have all the switches. The reason being, a keyboard is already going to take up quite a lot of space on your computer, and if you have to have one keyboard, have this. If you are made of money, which quite a few people are, yeah, sure, get the other keyboard. But a few people have done that. What they will do, they will buy this 100% keyboard, they will use it for work. When they are gaming, they will use the 60% keyboard, so only up to here. Okay, so when they use the mouse, their hand doesn't strike this part of the keyboard. My god. Okay, you know what, I shouldn't look into this a lot, because it's like leaving your girlfriend in the supermarket. That is how I feel right now, and giving them an unlimited credit card. Yeah, this one I will not recommend. Muggy, this keyboard, I know someone who has it. Okay, and under, I think, a year, the same issues started happening. What happened was the switches didn't work. So you see this, that is what going to happen if you are not going to buy a swappable keyboard. Okay, now, there is a very little chance that the PCB, that the board gets damaged, and even if you replace the switches, they will not work. There is a little chance for that. That is a chance with every brand. And slightly better brand, slightly expensive one, the chances will be lower. But ignoring that, okay, the first thing that happens is a switch simply doesn't work. So in that case, I will say just stay away from the reason I pointed this keyboard out is because I know someone who has it, and under 6 or 7 months few switches stopped working. If they had got a swappable keyboard, easy, I think under $2 they would have gotten 10 of these switches. Okay, so under $2 they will have got any of these switches, or even they will spend a bit more money. Okay, so if they spend like, these are I think $4. For $4 you get 20 switches, even the most expensive ones. For $2 you get 20 switches of the cheaper one. Okay, they would have a keyboard that would last long. That is the reason I do not recommend non-swappable keyboard. And since you are in the US, you might as well get the hot swappable keyboard. Okay, yeah, I will update. I will make a new sheet for the US markets.